All right. Welcome to the Truth Tribe, my friends. I'm Don Thompson, and thank you all for joining me. My newbies and my veterans, you're all perfect exactly where you are right now. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Please trust me on this. And I love you all very much. So we're gonna go right off of my love for you, and we're gonna talk about love. Let's talk about love, baby. So I want you guys to start tonight with a question. And I want you to be honest with yourself because I'm not with you, so I can't hear you, right? How good are you at loving yourself? I really want you to ask yourself this question. How good are you at loving yourself? Because you're like, oh, just love yourself. And I'm like, yeah, right, right? Like, how easy is it for you to love yourself? So most of us aren't very good at it, right? And see, this is my point. Someone's like, well, define love. That's my point. We shouldn't have to define it. We shouldn't have to. It should be a feeling, it should be an expression. And so when we're not good at loving ourselves, we seek it out like it's a thing out there to find, right? And then we beat ourselves up and we criticize ourselves when others who are doing maybe things that seem much better off, and you would love that. And if you had that, you'd be happier and you'd love yourself and you'd feel so much better, right? And so then we use their successes as comparison, which is never the same, ever. None of you have the same birth chart. None of you have the same birth path. None of you have the same karma. None, right? And so then it just makes you feel more unlovable. Like, oh, I'm not that. Oh, I'm not doing that. Oh, I don't have that, which is total BS. Total. Okay. It's all that is just some stupid cycle of unhealthy love that you learned. Now, again, if you're not conscious of it, I get it. But I have been on, you guys, the biggest freaking mission to create simple tools, right? To learn and to live and literally the healthiest version of love I can, to be the expression of love and to teach how to love ourselves and raise our frequencies of healthy love in our life. Like literally have been on a mission, hell bent, through my meditations, through my guides, through my, the Galactic Federation, through my guides, through my angels, all of them. And I sit and I have all these downloads and I'm like, what do I do with this, right? And this is what it came to. So the tools that I made were really just me kind of processing all this stuff through all these 25 years of tools to grow my own self-love. Because I'm just like all of you. We all struggle, right? And they're the exact tools I'm teaching in the Truth Warrior Retreat. It's the tools I have used to raise my own self-confidence and self-worth, hands down. To raise my frequencies, right? My frequency in all aspects of myself so that I'm not constantly criticizing myself for not achieving things that I so desperately want to experience. Okay. Once I started using the tool, and it's a very simple tool, but it's just timely that we have to kind of invest in it, right? I started noticing like just little things, right? I was craving things that made me feel stronger and lighter and confident, loving, instead of things that lowered my frequency. Those I still had at time to time, but it was just less. Okay. This is how I want all of you to feel when you're all of a sudden you're like, I do want to crave all these good things. And we literally crave them to do good for ourselves, which sometimes is uncomfortable. Okay. So I dropped the link for those of you in Zoom. There's also an early bird code there to get in as well. All of you are crazy not to join me in March in Scottsdale because it is so beautiful and warm and perfect. But anyway, I dropped the link for anyone who wants to join me for the 1 day of designing healthy love frequencies, and I dropped it in the chat. So, or just go to my website. It's all over there. But let's now explore the topic of love for a little bit because it's my favorite topic. Why? How do you see yourself? And are you choosing to show up as your loving self or your insecure self? Like we don't think about it. I know we think we do, but we don't. How you look lovingly. I want you to imagine this. You're looking at a loving baby, right? That's your new intention of looking at yourself from now on. When you see that baby, it's just like, God, that's so pure and beautiful and amazing. And so for this love month, yes, you guys, I'm a few days early, but I don't care. We're close enough. What are we, like 2 days out? Okay. So we're 2 days out. So we're in the love month. We're going to just say, like, we're going to imagine it's February 1st today. Okay. The whole month we're going to be in love. So it's time to start seeing how beautiful that you are, right? And today I want you to start your love evaluation with a simple, fun astrology tip that we're going to talk about tonight. Okay. If you don't have your chart or you don't know this about yourself, you can go to my website, idinow.com or ideserveitnow.com. They both go there. And if you don't have your chart, just go on there, tap on tools and print a free chart, or just pull it up on your phone or your computer and look at your chart, and on the outside edge, or it'll tell you rising sign or ascendant sign. That's what we're going to talk about. Okay. It's always a sign on the left of our wheel, and it's called your ascendant or a rising sign. Okay. So I want to talk about our rising sign tonight, because when you explore what kind of love you bring into the room, that's the kind you start with. Right? Your rising sign is part of you. All have one. You all show up. Every time you meet someone, they're giving you the mask. Right? Your rising sign is the personality that people meet when they meet you. So when people meet you, let's just say you're me, Aquarius. And then they meet you, they don't meet an Aquarius ever, right? It's how you show up. It's how your outside face looks to the world. It's the mask you wear, and most of you do your super best to bring your beautiful outside face out. Okay. But sometimes, right, when we aren't conscious, we bring the lower frequency of that rising sign or the mask to others, right? And so it's often we bring out the lower frequency, I should say, self, to those who closest to us are the ones we love. That's we drop our guard a little bit, and then when we show up, we're not like on, and we're like, we drop into the lower self. So we drop our guard in a sense, right? We let the mask or the guard down, and then we stop monitoring how we show up, so that the unhealthy love of your rising sign or unhealthy lower frequency, right? Is basically when your rising sign appears instead of the healthy, loving, high frequency. Does that, so am I making sure you guys understand that? So here's my challenge to all of you, just because we're starting the month, and I want this month to be like every day of your life, but I want you to kind of look at yourself and like, I'm just a this, and you're not just a that. You're amazing fractals of all these personality traits, and you have to see them and own them. So here's my challenge for you on week 1 of a self-love challenge. We're going to go a self-love month. We're going to do the self-love month, right? Once a week, we're going to talk about love. I'm going to show up here every week with love. So the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, can you first love yourself as the personality that you show up as? Like, can you just show up as that loving self? Right? Present yourself in every arena as that self you want to be seen. Then can you love that person for giving you that's you, this is the rising sign of you, right? For giving you these gifts that set you apart, and they give you abilities to win in that category or that theme of life, whatever that sign is. So can you see that when you look at yourself in that personality, you're like, oh, wow, I don't have to show up as others, how they do, because my gift is my healthy version of love to bring to the world. Show up as that healthy, high frequency person as your rising sign. Right? And so I want you to think about this. So here, let me share with you. All you got to do is go find out your rising sign. If you have your chart already, you'll know who you are. So if you know, let me go through the signs real quick. Let me let you know who you are. If this is your rising sign, I see some of you on here. I can tell you what you are right away if I know a lot of your charts. But what are the basics to focus on? If you're like, I want to show up of my most best rising sign self, that's my mask. So I want the good mask, the healthy love mask. Aries, if you have an Aries rising, They are funny, actually. They're super funny. They're super fun. They're super playful. It's the sign of young and child and self-worth. So they're open to trying new things. So they'll try new stuff. And they'll bring you in. So like, let's go. That's great. Taurus, they're very entertaining and glamorous and beautiful when they're in their high frequency of the rising sign. Gemini, social, educational, engaging, talkative. Cancer, very nurturing, creative, sensitive. High frequency of Leo, they're the sign of entertainment, of fun, of childlike life of the party, right? So when they're high and they're showing up like that, they're high. Virgo, health conscious. They can see the missing details, very conversational. So they'll bring you to feel better about yourself. Libra, balance, love, neutrality. They are the sign of the scale, so they want to balance everybody. They want to bring out beauty and balance in others. Scorpio, passion, right? They see the light in the darkest places, so they find a way out. For people are like, oh my God, how'd you find that? They're like the private eyes, stable. Sagittarius rising, they're the opportunity finders. So they're fun to be around. They enjoy having fun. They are open. They bring us into restriction, like they want freedom from restrictions. Capricorn rising, solid, stable, designing a form and structure. They are designers, so they'll lay a template, they'll lay the path. They'll create stable plans for people. When they're showing up, they're very like, we can trust this. Aquarius, humanitarian, wisdom, inventive, rebellious, right? So they'll rebel and they're very inventive, breaking the rules. And then Pisces rising people, okay? Creative, likable, dreamy, and fun and compassionate. Now, if you look for your rising sign, someone just said, oh, I'm a Scorpio rising. There you go. So this person, when they show up, they're very stable. They seem confident. They see light in the darkest places. They look for creativity. They're very passionate. So I'm sure that's how you show up when you're on. But when you're not a Scorpio rising person, if they're in their low frequency and they forget and they're tired or, they're just triggered, out comes the tail and there comes the Scorpio tail with a sharp tongue, right? So you have to look at what is the low frequency of that sign that you're in, okay? So these are all your rising signs expressing high frequency, and it's possible to be conscious of how you show up as that loving side of the self, as that healthy love aspect, as your gifts. God gave you these gifts. This is what we need to step into and not get lazy by expressing your low frequency of your rising sign. Because if we don't see our beauty, right, we can easily fall off into that self-critical trap of the rising signs. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not enough. Let me give you an example. I'm a Gemini rising, and a lot of people are going to be like, wow, I didn't see her like that, right? Because as the sign of Gemini, it's the sign of communication. So teaching, I can teach anything to anyone because I'm good at it, right? Teaching, I can talk to anyone, anywhere, on any stage, and make everyone in the room feel special. Now, low frequency, on the flip side of low frequency of Gemini, right? Of appearing in when it comes to social settings like large groups, I can have serious social anxiety because I get overwhelmed with making everyone comfortable in the group and multitasking and making everyone happy. So it's literally almost debilitating sometimes that it gets me so anxiety ridden that I don't want to go out into social groups that are too big, right? They aren't big enough where it's me teaching and speaking and I can walk away, but they aren't big enough where I can actually communicate with every one of them. So I feel like I have to entertain and keep everyone happy. So it's good or it's not so good. And I have to step into that being in who I am and knowing what my boundary is of communicating, but not worrying about entertaining everyone. So you have to look at which one's coming out, right? That's more valuable for you. So it's an easy part to look at yourself when it just goes, I don't know much about me. Your sun sign is what we're going to talk about next week, right? Because it's my birthday next week and you're all coming to my birthday party, all right? So you better be there or be square. on my birthday and bring your sun sign, which is your birthday, okay? So the rising sign is when people meet you. It's the easiest part to look at yourself because it's the first part that people meet from you, and ask, how do you want to show up? Right? For me, it's always been easy conversation to make others feel beautiful. It just is, right? Because we have been living, right, in this version basically of the Truman Show for our entirety of this planet's living, right? So it's going to require you guys to be a little bit more attentive to actually loving yourself and not just doing things to feel love, but actually loving your traits and gifts and how you show up with them. So in this month of learning self-love, I want you to start with showing up as the love that you actually are, not trying to show up of what everybody thinks you need to be, as your beautiful gifts. Okay, become aware today of how unhealthy that you talk to yourself, not just doing things to feel love, but actually love all your traits and your gifts, right? So what I want you to do is, instead of start showing up as the love you are, but as the beautiful gifts, and become aware today of how actually that you can talk to yourself in healthy love and then bring that to others. Be aware of your unhealthy traits of that rising sign, and then commit to the higher frequency, because there's a lower frequency of all of it. And when people are like, wow, I would never give you social anxiety. No, because when I work a room, I'm working, I'm not relaxed. And so I've had to work on that. And like, I don't care what goes on here. I don't have to control, like, I don't have to take care of everybody and make them feel good, right? So the loving side of it is how I had to find it. Just show up with your personal beauty. Every single sign has beautiful high frequency. You're all beautiful, and you have all been warriors in many lifetimes. Warriors of all things. You've been warriors of health and of wealth and of your body and of people. Your inner warrior wants to free you. It wants to be free with you. It's your time. All of you are here. You've all been on these calls for so long. You guys, it's your time to be in love with you. Okay? It's time to be in love with you. That's what it's time for. Okay, you've all been working so hard to overcome old karma, and it's time to enjoy the beautiful results and see yourself with healthy love. So I want us to all make a commitment to self-love this month. And I don't mean just like, ooh, I love myself. No, really look at yourself and go, I'm going to pick the higher version of me. And I'm going to love that about me. Okay? Tonight when we're done, I want you to go look in the mirror when we're done, and I want you to say this to yourself. I love the talents that you have. Imagine you guys are my mirror. I love the talents that you have. Thank you. That's all I want you to say to yourself. I love your talents. Thank you. You're beautiful. That's your new mantra. Okay? Okay. So let's get through. I really just gave you the basics tonight. I want to give you a quickie on how we're showing up and loving ourselves. And it's something super simple. But also tonight, we're going to talk about the planetary update. There's so much going on, but it actually kind of zeroed in on a very specific topic, which I'm so giddy about. Okay, so first and foremost, we left last week. I prepared you for it, but last week, Thursday, the 25th, was the Leo full moon. Again, Leo rules ego, so it rules like, oh, all of our ego stuff came up, even the stuff that we don't like, where ego is making you feel bad about yourself, but it's also where we needed to shine, right? Leo rules kids and fun and romance and playful vibes, encouraging the importance of creative pursuits with friendship and fun. Okay, so the energy was perfect for fine-tuning your passion and your projects and collaborating with others and building your confidence through your self-expression. Confidence. The great part that we're going to elaborate on next week is that there's a new moon. So the full moon was, the sun was over here in Aquarius, right? And it was shining down on the moon, and it made this beautiful full moon in Leo. Well, then in 2 weeks, right? So in 2 weeks, it's going to be next week. I don't remember the date right now, but next week, February, we're going to have a new moon. That's the sun. The moon is going to move around here from Leo, and it's going to clip up and it's going to sit on top of the sun. And so we're going to have a new moon in Aquarius. Okay. And we're going to talk about the new moon because it's opposite now, this new moon in Leo, right? And it's going to be in Aquarius, which is new beginnings. New beginnings on the topic of freedom and revolution. I don't just mean the freaking, I'm going to talk about the revolution of the collective, but I don't just mean the revolution of the whole planet in general, because it's going to happen, right? But I don't mean that. I mean your revolution, your truth revolution of the truth is I'm a fucking badass. You have to listen to yourself. Are you criticizing others? Are you jealous of others? Are you resentful of others? Are you sad that you don't have what others have and you don't even looking at your amazing self? You're also beautiful. It's time to have this truth revolution and go, the truth is, I'm freaking amazing. Step into that. So the energy pattern here is just repeating over and over of Aquarius, right? So the first time, right, that Pluto was at the place that it's at up in the orbit right now, moved into Aquarius, remember? We're going to have an Aquarius new moon. Like, I'm just going to pound the crap out of you guys with Aquarian energy, but this is fascinating. So the first time that the planet Pluto was in this place in Aquarius was the back at the birthplace of when the United States started. So Pluto has gone back around that amount of time, right, to back to where it started when it was the revolution. So this is the end of the beginning of the old and the beginning of the new again, just like it was then. That was, remember, rising. This is when it's going to raise questions on who are we? Like, who is the US? That's what they did during the revolution, right? And so that's what happened in the first time of the birth of the United States. It's happening again. Who are we? We're asking, who is the US? What is the US? What are the values? What do we need in transformation? Then you all know about the Texas gig that's going on right now, okay? Is a good example of Pluto moving into Aquarius. Aquarius is humanitarian, the masses, the sign of truth and freedom, the humanitarian. So it has triggered a huge response also to children, where that full moon in Leo ruled children, as well as that moon, because it was in the full moon of ruling kids, about shining and closure to, remember I said personal, not just collective, about acting like freaking children and being able to take your power back and live free how your soul wants a higher frequency. And it's easy to do. You know, I thought it was hard. It's not. So the moon was opposing up here Aquarius. This full moon was Aquarius. It was opposing Aquarius and Pluto. And Pluto and Aquarius was triggering freedom, revolution. And so then the full moon last Thursday, it was sitting there going, oh, we got to push and pull on this. Now it's going to play out in your personal life as well as the collective. Where will you stop acting childlike and start loving yourself in a new, loving, more expanded, powerful way? Taking responsibility to choose freedom to do as you need, instead of worrying about all the assholes out there. But we focus on them collectively and personally. So next week, we're going to discuss more about Aquarius and the supermoon that's happening in Aquarius next week. So this is so much Aquarius: freedom, rebellion, truth, technology. It's February 9th or 8th. Yeah, you're right. I think it's February 9th. And finally, you guys, so this pattern of, it's going to feel like it's triggering more of this pattern that I talked about last week, of breaking you out of jail, in a sense. You are breaking the feeling of breaking free into the truth, your truth, right? Because Pluto is the planet of sex, death, and regeneration. So death referring to ending old cycles and rebirthing into the new one. It's into the new one of your new one, okay? So this is the most important transit of the year, but also of the collective earth inducing this self-worth shift. And with so much Aquarius, you're going to notice more and more and more people turning to astrology or the metaphysical arts to guide their lives over the coming years, because Pluto in Aquarius is seeing the dark with metaphysical Aquarius, which rules astrology. I mean, you can't make this shit up, right? So you're going to see a massive rise in astrologers and esoteric arts who have already exploded with all their technical skills and their special energetic skills, and especially the digital resources. And this is why specifically I built the Truth Warrior Retreat, not only just because, oh, let's go do astrology. I don't really I'm not that into astrology. I'm actually into healing with your DNA and your spiritual DNA codes. So this course, you guys, is to heal your inner child by understanding your literal personal blueprint of your personality and why you attract every relationship in the 12 aspects of your life: money, people, relationships, communication, children, family, friends, lovers, career partnerships. These are all relationships for you. And how you connect and how you attract every one of those, and how do you raise the frequency to get every single one of them into healthy love. So grab your seat into the Truth Warrior Retreat. I have a $200 discount coupon code that I dropped into the webinar chat. Those of you who are in the webinar, in the live Zoom, it's there. If not, it's in all of my social media, so you cannot find it. And then worst case scenario, you can't find it, you can come find me and I will give it to you, okay? But it's only good for the first 10 signups, and they're already, loading up. So it's TWS Early Bird 20, all caps. TWS Truth Warrior Series Early Bird 20. All right. So I've been creating all this for you. Yep. All caps. TWS Early Bird 20. All caps, one word. TWS Early Bird 20. Now, I want you to all tap in here. Everything is frequency. Everything is energy. Everything is sound. Everything, every word, everything that you speak, even if it's a word like fuck, are you saying it with intention of sound, or are you saying with crass hurt and despair? You have to think about and hear about what you're saying and what you're thinking. Those of you who are asking me, just scroll up to the top of the webinar chat. I have the link and the code there. Just scroll at the top. You'll see it. Right, so everybody here, I'm courage. I am love. I am truth. Your thymus thump. This energetic frequency right here is tapping into your entire consciousness grid. I know courage. I know love. I know truth. Again, I am courage. I am love. I am truth. I am courage. I am love. I am truth. Those of you in the Zoom, I'm going to open up Q&A. I want you to share where you're feeling this gut of freedom screaming at you right now. Like you feel that you need to get out of. What is it? Right? Are you feeling that? Like for me, it's been a lot of work stuff. I have put in more hours lately than I can even, it's been insane. But the passion's been there and the energy's been there to get it complete. And today's my completion day, right? And so what's really great about it is I was screaming to get out of this old pattern of working, but I had to create a new pattern that would replace it. And that's where I'm trying to get you guys to open up. It doesn't have to be work. It could be something else. So, when you think about it, what areas in your life and you're like, I know I repeat this, or I know I don't want to keep doing this, or I know I have this repeating cycle. What is it that you're trying to break yourself? You're literally like this, giving yourself an internal truth revelation going, it's time. All right. So someone says, how do you know if you're showing up as your lower frequency? Oh, that's good. Okay. So how do you know? You enjoy being yourself in social settings, because remember, we talked about tonight, the rising sign is how you're showing up in the world. Like that's the mass. So you're appearing in public this way. Okay. And so if you are withholding your gifts, are you enforcing your gifts instead of looking at the entirety of the sign, right? Like, so I want you to see, like, am I showing up as just the blessings of who I am? right? Or am I showing up with the challenges as well? See if you can show up as the healthy or the unhealthy frequency of that sign. Which one do you show up as? That's how you know. Google it, right? Like you can literally just Google what are the gifts and the challenges of this sign, of your rising sign. You may be so unaware because you're so used to showing up from your subconscious place over your conscious place, over like who I want to show up as. This is digging into your personality and it changes your game, right? So you've got to dig into the personality, go, no, this is how I want to show up. And so I literally will create plans of what I'm going to say so I don't get too lost in other people now. I create a plan of what I'm going to respond as so I don't get lost in the I want to help him fix. It doesn't mean it's bad that I want to, it just means I do it so much that going out is stressful for me. Because people find out you're an astrologer. Oh, you do astrology? Oh, do you know this? Literally the questions start coming in. I'm back at work. So I've learned that I have to create a plan so when I go out, I'm okay being out and still socializing and not losing myself to the lower frequency of my sign. All right, so someone else says breaking away from constant obligation. Oh my gosh, breaking away from constant obligation filling. Wow, that one's another big one. You know why? Because that again is against so because this person is the person that said I have a Scorpio rising. They see the light and the darkness, so they're in there like, oh, if I go there, I can help you. Oh, I know that's going to be hard for you. So if I show up, I can help you. And they're in this constant, I feel obligated that I have to help you because you can't see the light. Where little scorpions can do that. That's the rising aspect, right? They also have so much, passion and drive to help people get out of the dark. So this is really great for you to see that and find a new plan. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So someone else says, let's see, let's see. I am seeing old habits appearing that I really don't enjoy or want, but they're like haunting me. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Why? Because this is a perfect example of what I was talking about with Pluto, my friends. Pluto rules darkness. And it went into Aquarius. So it went into opening us up to get out in the world. And it's going, but see, you got all this, right? So this is really good. It's digging up the unseen for you to see it so you can release it. So what happens is once you see it to release it, then they just disappear after you address what it's doing for you, right? So what I say is everything that we do is feeding something in us. Even if it's not a healthy version of us, we're doing it to feed something. Okay. So once you can see this whatever they said, these things that are haunting me, maybe the habits that I don't like. Once you will see that those habits, you're going to realize that you're stronger. You're going to be like, wait a minute. Now I see them. I know what was it doing for me? Well, I can see what it used to do for me, but it didn't do that for me anymore. So you're going to see that you are stronger from all these calls, from all my Truth Tribe calls, from all the events that you've been to, through the books you've read. You no longer need it. It was only a subconscious habit. But to allow it to show up, that's where the shift happens. Okay? So don't hide from the old habits or the darkness that's haunting you. Like, no, let's look at it. What was it feeding in me? Do I still need to feed that, or am I confident now? And you're going to be like, no, I don't need that anymore. Might be, neediness. It might be a toxic habit. It might be a substance. It might be shopping. It might be eating. It might be, all kinds of weird stuff that we use to self-soothe. It might be workaholic. It might be, again, obligations. This person literally fills himself up so much with obligations so they don't have to see things they don't want to see within themselves, of going, ooh, I got to look at my own darkness, not theirs, and then realize I'm free to see the light. And she's beautiful, so she should see her light. Right? So this is important that we're all starting to look at ourselves and go, no, there is nothing freaking wrong with you, as I keep trying to tell you guys. So go ahead, and if you guys have any other questions, or again, I think I made it pretty black and white. There's a high frequency of every sign in your personality. You have, 12 aspects of your personality, 12 different signs of you. And then that rising sign is the sign people meet. So let's look at the high frequency of it. Okay. So if you have any other questions, feel free to throw them in. But if not, just remember, I'm going to bring it up again. It's a 1-day live event, March 23rd in beautiful sunny AZ, here in Scottsdale. Early bird discount is $200 off. All capital letters, TWS, early bird 20. And I've added it to all my platforms, so it's easy to find. Or just go to IDeserveItNow.com or the link I sent you. If you're listening to this later after the live session, the YouTube and the Spotify, the links are in the notes there. As always, they always are. So as you all know, if you have any questions or you're interested or you're just not sure, you don't even quite know what I'm talking about, DM me, send me a message. We'll talk about it. I want you there because, guys, it's time to step into our most rebel, badass, honest, truthful selves. It's so freeing. It's so freeing just to be yourself for a change instead of dancing around everyone and making everybody happy. Make you happy. This is the love month, my friends, and it's time to fall in love with you. And I'm on a mission for 1 month to get you all to fall in love with you because I love you very much. You guys, we are done for the night. It was an early call. I love you all. Brightest blessings. I will see you on Monday. Be here because it's my birthday. We're going to have a birthday party. You guys have a good night. Love you. Take care. Good night.